Good afternoon. My name is Jerome Kose. You are joining us for the informGhana Hangout on Citizen Activism. And we are very sorry for the late start of the Hangout, and we are experiencing technical difficulties. I would like to begin by thanking Google Ghana for hosting us for the second time, and we are grateful to them for their participation. Inform Ghana is a blogging Ghana project that is supported by Star Ghana to foster a better informed citizenry. And this hangout is our second hangout after the first one on the economic partnership agreements, and it's on citizen activism and the impact it has on governance. I'm happy to be joined by a very distinguished
Citizen Activism. And we are very sorry for the late start of.
I would like to allow him to introduce himself, and then we begin. That's it.
The Hangout, and we are experiencing technical difficulties.
Jerome, thank you.
I would like to begin by thanking Google Ghana for hosting us for the second time
to be here. And thank you for
having
me. The work that is very. Please keep it up.
Thank you.
You are giving us a platform to broadcast our message out there as a civil society organization. My name is Nana Akwasi Awuah, and I'm the convener for the Concerned Ghanaians for Responsible Governance, the organizers of the Occupy Flagstaff House protest on 1st July 2014 here in Accra. And I'm happy to be here this afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Nana Akwasi. I want to find out your view on citizen activism. Citizen activism is, and do you think it is important that in a country that prides itself on being a democracy, citizen activism is really needed?
Yes, I think that citizen activism is very important. I think that it plays a crucial role in the democratic process. In that, let's take Ghana as a case study. Looking at our democracy, you have an electoral system where you have the parliament, you have the executive, and then you have the judiciary. And of course, you have the media. And then for us, we elect our leaders into these positions. And so we give them the power to take decisions on our behalf. So policies which are rolled out and all of that affect us eventually. And therefore, there is a need to have citizens participate in the governance process.
Right.
And if you look at our constitution is largely framed in a way that promotes citizen activism. One of the key things or key players in citizen activism is the media and groups such as Inform Ghana. And therefore, if you look at our constitution, it guarantees the freedom of the media.
Yes.
It is guaranteed. You see, there is no media censorship and all of that. And so, citizen activism, right from scratch, even after the framers of our constitution felt that indeed it was very crucial and critical to the democratic process. Again, our constitution guarantees the right to embark on protest. And protest is one of the many tools that civil society organizations or civil activism employs to carry out their message.
So you are a lawyer by profession.
Yes.
And you were still able to convene the Concerned Ghanaians for responsible government. I want to know, looking at your schedule, what were some of the challenges that you faced in setting up a civil society organization that has, in a short while, become one of the most talked about civil society organizations in the country and, in fact, beyond the country?
Okay. Well, I would say that first of all, this group is a very young group. It was only established in June this year.
Right, just a month to the protest.
Exactly, it was just established in June this year. And the whole idea started with myself and an office colleague. And for us, we had been monitoring the temperaments of Ghanaians over social media for some time. I'm very active on social media. My colleague is also very active on social media. And we started thinking about ways to give Ghanaians a platform to voice out those frustrations, those lamentations. Now, as a lawyer with my schedule and all, I mean, I would say that it's not been easy, but my senior in the firm has been very supportive. He has given me the room to allocate part of my busy schedule to doing things involving concerned Ghanaians or civil activism. And so he's been very, very supportive since the inception of this group.
I want to know, how was it like when you first announced the protest? Was it where you met with a lot of optimism that, oh, this is great and I want to come on board, how do I join? Or was it more of like, oh, but this is unnecessary? I mean, I want to know what the general response was to the Occupy Flagstaff House protest.
Okay. Well, Jerome, I would say that the response was very good. It all started when, on that Wednesday, I wrote that letter to the police. When, after writing and dispatching the letter for it to be delivered to the police, what we did was to take a photograph of the letter, and then we uploaded it.
Onto social media.
Yes. And that was how it got people talking about it. Apparently the police had not even gotten the letter, but the letter was delivered. But it hadn't reached the officer or the police official responsible for those affairs. So it wasn't up until Sunday evening that the police gave us a call that they have cited a copy of the letter where we intend to embark on the protest, and that we should come on the Monday for a discussion on how to go about the protest. And so on Monday we did go. I would say that when it started, it wasn't until the Monday that, I mean, radio stations, media houses started calling from all over the country, all over the country. And aside that, to Ghanaian media houses outside the country were calling. We had calls from US, we had calls from UK, we had calls from Germany as well. Germany as well. And so everybody who called was rendering support. People were calling to find out about the plan so far, whether it's actually going to come on, because people really wanted to come. And the conversation about the protest on Twitter was just overwhelming. Overwhelming. And so I would take this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to all concerned Ghanaians who, in one way or the other, gave their support to the success of the protest on that day. You may not have been there physically, but the goodwill that you had for this ensured that it came out as a success.
You mentioned the police, and I want to dwell on this for a little while, because there were reports that one of the protesters was arrested. I want to know what, in your opinion, you make of the police's response to the protest. Do you think they handle it professionally? Were there some mistakes they made? Could they have done better? Were they heavy-handed? And what is your view?
Well, I would say that the police were very professional on that day. We promised them at that meeting on Monday's meeting. I'll tell you more about that meeting later.
Okay.
But we promised them that in fact, from the letter itself giving them notice, we promised them that this was going to be a peaceful protest.
Okay.
Now, there is a culture in this country where whenever a group of people want to embark on protest, the police are quick to deny them.
Okay.
Now, many a times you realize that there is a misappreciation of the law on protest in this country, in the sense that even when we wrote our letter, okay, the media, the journalists and the media houses who kept calling were asking whether the police have given us a permit to embark on the protest. But when you read the law carefully and you look at case law, there's a Supreme Court decision on it. We do not need a police permit to embark on a protest.
All right.
You do not need it. The law says that give them notice. The notice is required within at least 5 days. You give them that notice. If the police are unhappy about it or the dates or they have any qualms whatsoever, they need to write back to you. Okay? But under the circumstances, they called us for a meeting. We were in that meeting from morning till late afternoon. Okay? Because we were unable to reach compromise. The police were they had some concerns. In fact, they wanted us to change the date and the venue altogether. But we told them that no. After disagreeing for a while, we told them that we were willing to make a compromise, but that would only be on the venue and not the date. As for the date, it has to happen. Okay. So back to the point of the law on protest. So under normal circumstances, when you give them notice, if they have any concerns, they write back to you. If you're unwilling to comply, you need to say so, or if you are willing to comply, you need to say so within 48 hours. If the police do not hear from you within 48 hours, they then can go to court to get an order to stop you from going on that protest. Now, for us, I would say that planning the protest was strategic because we knew that the Monday that was the 31st of June, was a day, the 30th, right? Was a day the Ghana Bar Association, together with the judiciary, organized a commemoration service, a memorial service of the 3 High Court judges who were murdered. And so the courts largely were not sitting. So there was no way the police were going to be able to secure a court order. The Tuesday also was a holiday. So there was no way the police was going to be able to manage to secure a court order unless you go and catch a judge in his house somewhere or in chambers to grant you an injunction. But I think that by and large, the police were very, very helpful. Initially at that meeting, tempers flared up, I must say. Tempers flared up. But at the end of it all, we were able to come to a consensus and we agreed that it was going to be a very peaceful protest. And of course, I don't know if you were there, but it turned out very peaceful. At the protest, at the beginning, what we did was to say a prayer. We said a prayer. The police were gathered there in their numbers. When I got there at 6 a.m., there were some people who had already taken the lead there. The police were gathered there in their numbers. And you know, police presence in this country is naturally intimidating. Okay. Now, especially when you see them in all that gear. You know, you ask yourself, but this is just a bunch of people, Ghanaians, who have just gathered to embark on a peaceful protest. Why come with all these water guns and what have you? It's not like we are planning to cause any havoc or chaos. And so after the prayer, the police had gathered, I mean, they had formed a small parade there. So what we did was to move out to go and shake their hands.
Okay.
As a sign of peace, as a sign that, look, we mean no harm. We are only here to register our dissatisfaction with the status quo. So that is what we did. And I think that by and large, these were the little things which helped to ensure that as a whole, the protest was peaceful. Concerning the gentleman who was arrested, in fact, the protest, you had a huge turnout of lawyers over there.
Okay.
So immediately he was picked up. The lawyers who were part of us that's protesting joined him to go to the police station.
Okay.
And they sorted things out within a day or two, and everything was back to normal. So generally, it was very, very peaceful.
No.
Very peaceful.
Now, I would like to go into the specifics of your demands as to what motivated the whole Occupy Flagstaff House protest. What were you dissatisfied with? What did you want to see happening in government, and what was happening that you were dissatisfied with?
Jerome, you see, we in this country, okay, I live here, I work here, and in fact, I must say that when it started, there were things over the media, there were reports on the media that the people who were organizing the protest were somewhere in Belgium or what have you. Yes, but no, we were right here.
Okay.
The gentleman who was in Belgium was a personal friend of mine, a colleague, who helped to publicize the protest on social media. So people actually thought he was the one organizing. You know, we were right here. So when it started, for us, the things, like I said, when I started, I said that we had monitored the frustrations or the social media for some time. And we had noticed the frustrations of Ghanaians. And we wanted to provide that platform where Ghanaians would register their dissatisfaction with the status quo, send a clear message out there, because it appeared that the president wasn't hearing us. And for that reason, that's even the more reason why we chose to go to the Flagstaff House, the very seat of government. Now, we don't understand why, when they are coming to the presidential candidates are coming to campaign for votes, they come to us. But when we have concerns, we can't go to them. Why should it be so? Okay, what happened to the concept of a social contract? Okay, between leadership, the rulers, and the ruled. You understand? Good. So, amongst the things we raised in our petition, we raised issues on corruption, we raised issues on health, we raised issues on education, we raised issues about the depreciating value of the city, because you're a Ghanaian, you go to bed, you wake up the next day, and you are about some percentages poorer than the day before, just because the city kept falling and falling and falling by the day. So we raised issues about the depreciating value of the city. We also raised issues about energy. The doomsday which was going on. You see, our aim is to ensure responsible governance. And we believe that the happiness of us all as Ghanaians is inextricably linked to responsible governance. And for that reason, we feel that if we are able to make a firm demand for responsible governance, then we would all be happy as a people. You understand? So, among the other things we raised issues about the freedom, the right to information bill. We feel that this is a very important piece of legislation that, when passed, would ensure or would advance the fight against corruption. So these are just a number of the few things that we raised in our petition to the president on that day.
There has been an official response from government led by the Ministry of Information. There was a press release that sought to address some of the issues that you raised. I want to have your opinion on that press release as to the extent to which it addressed the concerns that you are tabled to government.
Okay. Now, thank you once again, Jerome. In fact, when the petition was presented, we presented a petition to the Deputy Chief of Staff, who received it on behalf of the President, and she promised us that she would bring it to the attention of the President. Now, which I believe she did, and so within a day or two, we had confirmation. We had a letter from the Presidency signed by the Chief of Staff, that is Mr. Prosper Bani himself, acknowledging receipt of our petition and indicating that they are going to work on it. Now, on that very day, the President at a program involving, I think, what was it, veterans?
Yes. The veterans
exactly. Made a remark that the time for talking has now passed, and that now it's all about action. Now, just about 2 days ago, when he was swearing in his new appointees, he made that same remark. Now, for us, particularly concerning the press conference that was organized, we got notification through the Facebook post of Mr. Ajeni that the press conference is in response to our petition. And then when Felizo Uzukwachi on a radio station indicated that that press conference was not in response to our petition, well, fine. For us, we are only waiting to see positive signs of reactions by government on the issues we presented in our petition. And also, we look forward to hearing from the President to tell us what he is going to do and giving us timelines on how he's going to address the issues that we raised in that petition. Now, take for instance the Right to Information Bill. This is a bill which this government made a promise in the 2008 manifesto that was going to pass. Now, the President in his 2012 manifesto also promised that he was going to implement the bill when passed into law. The first reading of the bill was the 12th of November 2013. Since then, nothing has happened to the bill, and we feel that it has kept too long. You make a promise to the people, deliver on it. So we are only waiting to see some positive reactions from the President on the issues that we raised in our petition. But we've not rested. If you I'm sure you might have observed by now that we also went a step further with our protest by organizing the Red Friday protest. The Red Friday is an indication or a message being sent out that we are still around the corner. We are not going anywhere. We are waiting to see results. It's not like we just organize a protest and go back to bed. No, we are still around the corner. We want to see results. The Red Friday is simply a campaign where we encourage all concerned Ghanaians to wear red or articles of red. The aim is to send out that message, make ourselves visible that we are still around the corner and that we expect government to react to those issues we raised in our petition.
Nana, in your opinion, what has been the impact of the Occupy Flagstaff House protest in terms of not official government response, per se, but in terms of how it has affected the Ghanaian conscience was citizen activism. Since the protests, we've had the TUC also going on demonstration, and we've had a lot of talk on social media. I want to know, what do you think has happened to the Ghanaian citizenry as a result of the Occupy Flagstaff House protest?
Okay. Thank you, Jerome. Once again, I would say that I believe that the Occupy Flagstaff House protest gave what I would call a snowball effect.
Okay.
In that since that protest, there have been several other protests. The TUC is one. I mean, protests both here in Ghana and outside Ghana. There's been a protest in Washington, D.C. I am aware of a protest which will be coming on the 29th in UK. Okay, at the mission in UK, the Ghana embassy in UK. And so for us, we feel that largely our protest has contributed to creating awareness amongst the people, okay, Ghanaians generally, that look, you have a say in governmental affairs. Okay, you have a say in governmental affairs. Get involved in the democratic process. The democratic process, getting involved doesn't only mean forming long queues to go and vote. No. Now you realize that there was a culture in this country where anybody who came out to criticize government was tagged as opposition.
Yes.
Now you have government communicators come out, okay, to vilify such people. Okay, they will just take you to the dogs. I mean, they will just take you. They will mess you up, such that you, even when you want to say something, you can't, because for fear that you will be vilified by these people. Now, what we did was to come out strongly as a non-partisan group. Okay, we welcome people from across the political divide. We don't care whether you are this, that. You may very well be in government. You see, when the hardship is going on, we feel it all. We all feel it. When somebody goes to the hospital and is turned away because the NHI, the health insurance claims, have not been paid by government to the hospitals, the medical officers or the health officials, the nurses, you don't ask the person whether you're FPP or you're QRC or NDC or PPP or PNC or what have you. No, they don't do that. You see, they just turn you away simply because government has not paid. We were in this country when the Christian Health Association of Ghana decided to withdraw its medical services from the people for non-payment of health insurance claims. Okay, and I mean, when you go to church, it's full of both people from the political right, a cross section of them. They don't ask that if you are going to the Presbyterian hospital or the SDO hospital or the Catholic hospital, they don't ask you whether you're NPP or NDC or which political party you are from. You understand? So these issues which affect us, we were tired of the way every socio-economic issue was subjected to politicization. Okay. We were tired of it. And so we believe that our protest has given or has created that platform where people can freely come out, criticize without fear of being vilified or being tagged as opposition.
Now, we would like you to advise, to give advice to anyone who wishes to be engaged or be involved in citizen activism. Your successful protest has become kind of a template to a lot of people, but maybe they do not know the kind of stress or the struggle you went through to have such a successful protest. So we would like you to advise people in social and citizen activism, not necessarily in protest, but in what way can people also come out and let their voices be heard?
Okay, I think that citizen activism cuts across a wide spectrum. Okay, so first of all, if you decide to embark on citizen activism, I mean, you can't be a jack of all trades. You need to be able to determine what specific issue you want to deal with. Okay, it is better that way, because that way you are able to harness your energy and efforts and channel them to achieving that particular thing. We took responsible governance. Okay. Now in our manifesto, we have indicated that we want to, our vision is to be the citizens' watchdog.
Right.
Why do we say that? We are saying that if a government comes to make us promises, our aim is to make sure that government delivers on its promises. Okay, so we'll pick your manifesto, audit it. These are the things you said you are going to do. You said within 100 days or within your first year in government, this is what you are going to do. You haven't done it.
Yeah.
Why haven't you done it? Okay, come out, tell us. Many a times, people, I don't even think most Ghanaians even get to read the manifestos of these political parties. No, they don't. You see, but if you pick up those manifestos, they are policy documents. So for us, we decided to hold them accountable to their own promises. So again, if that is why it's also important that you determine which area you want to go into. Now, you also need to, as it were, do a lot of study, or if you're already an expert in that field, you can choose to use the knowledge you've already acquired to build on what you're doing. Okay. Other than that, you have to do a lot of research on what you're doing. And so one other thing that you also need to consider is the regulatory framework, or as lawyers will put it, the legal framework. Okay, the legal framework. Because for us, for instance, you can't just get up and say you're organizing a protest.
Right.
You need to know what the law, what the process is, what the law says about it. You also need to know if you decide to embark on another thing other than organizing protest, you need to know whether the law permits you to do that. Okay, and whether the law places any limitations on whatever you decide to do. So it's always key to ensure that you go according to the laid down framework by law.
Now, how can anyone get in touch with Concerned Ghanaians for responsible government? Are you on social media?
Yes, we are very much on social media. Our presence is mostly on two groups. We have the Occupy Ghana group, Occupy Ghana, no space.
Okay.
So you can just search there. We have a current following of about 20,000, almost 21,000.
Wow.
These are Ghanaians from all over the country and outside. There is also the Concerned Ghanaians for Responsible Governance group itself.
Okay.
So you can also join. The website is also concernedghanaians.org.
Okay.
concernedghanaians.org. Yes. So that's how you can reach us on there.
Thank you very much,
Thank you so much,
Mr.
Jerome.
Awuah, for joining us. We are grateful. Okay, we are very grateful to you for joining us for this hangout. Once again, we would like to apologize for the late start. If you want to get in touch with Mr. Awuah, you can visit concernedghanaians.org, and I'm sure all his details will be available there. If you want to find out more about Inform Ghana, you can do a Google search, Inform Ghana, no spacing. All our platforms will be there. You can visit informghana.com and get to know some of the things we've been doing. Thanks again for joining us, and have a good day.